Guys, Captain Dave Schneider, It's a Guide's Life. It's time for the tube tutorial. That's how I love saying that. Tube, never mind. All right, listen, I'm gonna jump right in and do this thing. I realize these tutorials are a little long, and so I'm gonna try and shrink it up for you just a little bit here as quick as I can. I want you to look down here. I've got a whole bunch of tubes laid out here. I've got several different types of heads and things like that, and I want to talk about this stuff as quickly as I can for you. First of all, there's basically, as far as what I do, and I'm a pretty good tube fisherman. You learn to fish tubes when you fish and for big smallmouth and things like that. And there's basically two things I want you to see here. First of all, we have what's called a 90-degree head. All right, and I want you to see this. The idea here is that the tie is at a perpendicular to the hook shank, whereas this one is a 60-degree, and it's at a 60-degree angle to the hook shank, okay? And the reason these two things are important is because the tube behaves very differently with these two, with the different styles. First of all, if you have a 90-degree head, and I've got a tube rigged up on a 90-degree head right here, you got to kind of press, if you're going to tie them, you got to kind of squeeze the plastic to expose the tie here. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to or when you tie it on here, what happens is this tube is going to kind of have a spiraling effect when it falls. When you lift up on a 90-degree head, it spirals back to it kind of spirals back down, and that's an important component here, and it may be specifically, that spiraling down may be exactly what you want. I'm going to tell you straight up, however, if you're going to use a 90-degree head, go up 4, 5, 6 inches and put a swivel in it. You know I'm the king of the swivel, because this will twist your line to where you fish a half a day and you have to retie. I mean, you'll have to unspool and get rid of the line, and especially with fluorocarbon. And so put a little. It doesn't hurt. I do it all the time. Put a little swivel in your line, and that will have a big impact on your success long term. But that's a 90-degree head. This is what they look like. This particular one is called a barbarian hook, and it's just what I do, guys. Listen. You go out and you find the hook that you like, and a lot of times you'll find a manufacturer that takes that hook and puts it into a jig head, and that's what I recommend you do. Whether this particular one is called a barbarian. Barbarians are great hooks. I've used them for years. These are Gamakatsu hooks. I don't have any. Truthfully, I don't have any trocar hooks in jig heads, and I probably should work on that. I'm sure trocar makes the shank to be put into a jig head, but I need to get a hold of somebody and maybe make me some of those. But in any case, so the difference between 60 degrees and 90 degrees. This is a tube that's rigged on a 60-degree head, and you can see here that it's got more of a pull-out ring. And these are the kinds of tubes that you want to fish more like a bait fish. It pulls a lot straighter. It's going to come through the water. It doesn't spiral down as much as the 90-degree does. It kind of drags. If I'm dragging tubes, I dragged tubes the other day with some guests. I use a 60-degree head because it wants to pull through the grass. Now the other thing you can hear, I like my rattles in my tube jigs. Guys, put rattles in them. I sit underwater and I make rattling noises. I make rattling noises, and bass come and look for me. All right, I've seen it underwater footage. I shot some underwater footage tonight. I'm tapping. Here come the bass. All right, you need to put rattles in your tube jigs. Absolutely. Okay. Now, let's jump to a specialty here. This is actually a football head, and it's got the rattle in it, of course. And here's what a football head looks like inside a tube. It looks just absolutely 100%. It looks like a goby. I'm telling you, that is what a goby looks like underwater. They got a kind of a big head, and this particular one, you junior high kids, quit snickering. All right, it looks just like a goby underwater. All right, so that's another little deal. Football heads. These are 90 degrees that I use under that. Wanted you to see it, but let's get right down to business. and that is the Texas rigged tube. I fish Texas rigged tubes all the time. I've got two different ways I rig it. I use this owner setup right here, okay, or I use the Trocar tube hook just like this, and I tie it in a snell knot, and I rig it, both of my rig with weight. Okay, so here is the Texas, the tube, the Trocar version of it. All right, and you can see I've got the weight. Now I usually leave the weight unpegged. Guys, somebody asked about the other day about what's the difference between pegging and not pegging. First of all, pegging is important if you're in heavy cover, but not pegging, a lot of times you get more bites because it's a chase scene. And you know what I think about chase scenes. This is a chase scene. When that thing falls down like this on the bottom and your bait is behind it and you pull and it goes after it, that's a chase scene. And all right, so, but that's here and there. This has been, this hook, you can see it here, has been snelled. Oh, let me get tight, sorry. You can see here it's been snelled. All right, and I snell my tubes for the same reason as I snell my flipping rigs and stuff like that. Let me get this back in position here so I can rig this, because I want you to see how this is rigged. All right, so the key thing is this. All right, in fact, let me undo this. I'm going to undo this like this, and I'm going to start fresh here. Okay, you take your snelled hook, you go through the bait just like so, and come right back out like this. This is important that you understand this. All right, now this has got a 45-degree angle on the keeper, and I tell people all the time, make sure your angle coming out of your bait matches that keeper. All right, so I'm going to pull it through like this, and you can see now I've got that keeper pulled out just like so. Okay, there it is, just like that. Now I'm going to take this like so. I'm going to line it up. Let's see where it needs to punch through at, and I'm going to punch it through there like so. I'm going to come back to the other side, and again, it's because I want this thing to lay fairly straight, and I'm just going to skin hook just like that. Now here's the secret to the rig. All right, this is what you want to do with a Texas rig tube. You turn it over, you take your pliers or your scissors, you jam through here, and you cut this just like so. All right, you cut it, and you expose the belly of that tube just like that. Now this hook is going to, when it penetrates, it's not going to bind up on the tube. It's going to come right through there, and you only have one side of the tube to deal with. That's how I Texas rig my tubes, guys, right there. I hope that this makes sense to you. That's the ticket. Of course, I've got my bullet weight. I pulled my bullet weight off on the tagline, but that's what it is. I will drag this around. I'll throw this in heavy cover. I'll throw it through heavy grass if I'm trying to fish tubes through the grass. This is amazing. It's also amazing in current. When you pitch out into current, you just lift your bait up, lift your bait up, lift your bait up, lift your bait up, and it's going boom, 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 boom down river systems and things like that. Bam! It's deadly. Absolutely deadly. This rig here is a little different. I'm going to show you this one here. This is the owner style. You take your bait, you take it like this, it's going to pump right down through the middle of the tube, and you come right out the tip of the tube here. The tip of the tube. Oops, I missed the tip of the tube. Come right out the end here. All right, just like so. There it is. You pull it all the way through. That weight pulls up inside of the tube. This is nice because I'll use this sometimes if I don't want to deal with an exposed weight. All right, you go like this here. You've got your weights on the inside of the tube now. I fish this exactly the same way. I'll roll. My finger hurts a lot, guys. I apologize if I'm having a hard time doing this thing. I'll roll it up here. I'll pop it through. Get it to hang as straight as I can. Just like so. It'll want to fight back against itself, and I do exactly the same thing again. I cut the tube. Just like that. And that exposed. I might cut it further than that. Sorry about that. I might cut it further than that, but at the end of the day, that's how I'm fishing a Texas rig tube. Guys, Texas rig tubes are spectacular. I mean, that's how I'll pitch and flip a tube. Pitching and flipping a tube can be a great way to catch a largemouth bass. Anyway, that's tubes, guys. I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, as far as types of tubes, guys, they come in all shapes and sizes. Here's a little 3-inch. Here's a 6-inch. All right. This is the same tube in a 4.5-inch. These are 4-inch. It just depends on. I'll tell you. This is a little 3-inch tube right here. Mimics a bait fish really good. I choose the tubes based on what I think the fish are eating. if they're fishing goby and things like that, I like to have a little bit of a pink to them, a little bit of a smoky pink is one of my favorite colors. But that is tubes, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I fish them. That's how I rig them. Remember, 90-degree hooks, put a swivel in there or it's going to twist your line like crazy. If you want to move more like bait fish, a 60-degree hook is great. If you're going to drag, 60-degree hooks are awesome. Get the hook that you like. Get some lead put on it. Get a rattle put in it. Throw rattles inside the tubes if you need to. There's a lot of different ways to rattle a tube. And then Texas rig your tubes, guys. And that's tubes. Captain Dave Schneider. It's a guide's life. I hope this tutorial was helpful. The tube tutorial. Now, again, follow up with questions. I'll respond to your questions if you have them, if this wasn't clear. If you don't know how to snell knot, I've got a video. You type in snell. I've got a video that shows how to snell. And you do it exactly the same way for flipping or for the tubes. You do it exactly the same way. All right? Captain Dave Schneider. It's a great day. It's a great life. All right? I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.